Welcome to the horror show. I'm Marcia Parker.
And I'm Cecil Laird, and today we're going to be reviewing the movie Behind the Mask.
The boy murdered Silas, buried his body in the field, and dragged Molly from the house, hanging her in the farm's apple orchard.
You have no idea how much cardio I have to do. It's ridiculous. There's that whole thing of making it look like you're walking, and everybody else is running their asses off.
Everybody thinks we just wake up one morning and start obsessing about a girl and start stalking her, killing everybody that gets in the way.
That does seem to happen a lot with you guys.
That boy, he's going to be the best yet.
There are 11 exits from the first floor. Another 8 or 9 that might be manageable from the second floor. All the obvious weapons I've sabotaged.
Why are you doing this?
We're not going to have this conversation.
Why? What, you
Get in the van.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
So how will this play out? How will this work?
You won't like what you see. I promise you that.
I'm so happy.
Make sure you're getting this.
Directed by Scott Glosserman and starring Nathan Baesel. B-A-E-S-E-L.
Yeah. Behind the Mask is about this girl named Taylor, and she's a reporter for Channel 12. And she has decided to do this documentary about serial killer and how they do it and what drives them to do it.
Let me stop you right there just because it's set in a world where Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers all really happen.
Yeah, she even visits the places where these occur and how these villains have disrupted all these small towns, and kind of leads you into the Leslie Vernon story.
Right, she gets contacted by a source that we don't know who it is at first that says he can let her in on all the secrets of Fred, Michael, Jason. He supposedly is going to be able to tell her how they do what they do from the killer's perspective, and he somehow guarantees her safety along the way. So they go and they meet up with this man, calls himself Leslie Vernon, and he's actually quite an affable guy.
Yeah, he's just a normal dude, you know.
Yeah, he's fun.
He has turtles.
Hey, how's it going? He's got turtles. Yeah, exactly. And it's really interesting, but he talks as if we were talking to you guys just one-on-one, just like, hey, how you guys doing? You know,
this is my job.
Yeah, this is what I do. Sometimes they run, and all this stuff. And at one point, he's working out. He's hitting a heavy bag. He's like, whew, cardio's the most important thing. He's like, not only do I have to keep up with them, but I have to make it look like I'm not even trying.
Right.
Like,
you gotta run like a gazelle without running out of breath.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to run like a freaking gazelle without getting winded.
Exactly. So he's really fun to sort of watch interact with them.
Yeah.
And he sort of lets them meet someone that's from the business that's now retired, who's actually played by Scott Wilson, who anyone that has watched The Walking Dead knows played Herschel for a number of the seasons.
Yeah.
And he was very good. So he's good again in this movie, and he, imparts some wisdom from an older serial killer's perspective.
Right. Like, the way we did in the 60s is nothing the way we do it now, and how Freddy and Jason elevated the business by returning to the same spot
after they're
like
dead.
A curse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're very interested in the idea of the supernatural serial killer.
Right.
One that returns over and over again despite being killed.
Yeah.
And Leslie claims that he's gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah.
And he's setting up how that's gonna happen, and he's taking them on the journey with him. So he takes them also to find how he picks his final girl.
Right.
The one that's gonna survive to the end. And basically the rest of the movie, then they're supposed to follow him as he pulls off this job.
Right.
He shows them how he's gonna dispatch a group of teens that he's luring to this house, and where they're gonna be in the house and where he's gonna be and how he's gonna dispatch them.
And it's really brilliant how they do it, because he goes step by step on what you do. Like, the first step is to find your anchor point where everything starts. So it's the farmhouse, the orchard, that's part of this legend.
Right.
And then you go and you're gonna find your crew, the kids you're going to take
group
over.
of kids.
Right.
And then, when they're in the house, he's like, you're gonna set this room up sort of as a love nest, and then there's always 2 that sneak away to go have sex. They'll come up here, I'll get them first, and he really lays it out step by step.
Yeah, he's really thought everything everything out.
Exactly. We're not going to go into too much more because now we're going to reach spoiler territory.
Right.
It's interesting to see how that night plays out. I'll say that much about it. And I will also say the movie starts out in a found footage fashion, documentary style.
It's a good mix of them doing the documentary and then the actual movie part of it.
Exactly, because at one point there is a transition into more of a standard film. And again, that sort of is a spoilery territory, but it's really interestingly constructed, the entire film, I'd say.
Yeah, and there's no real CG in it. It's all practical effects.
All practical effects. And not only that, but a lot of the wounds are sort of after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot shown. So if you're going into it hoping for a lot of gore, you're not going to get that.
And I really want to mention this because I think it's really cool. Like, you really don't see a lot of the kills. You hear them.
Right.
And the sound effects
design
are
is fun.
beautiful.
Yeah, the sound design is a lot of fun.
Like, him slashing sounds like juicy, and then like you'll hear like the crunch.
Yep.
It's
a lot of good stuff. Yeah, they did a really good job with the sound design. It was pretty standard, you know, slasher fare along the lines of those older movies because the whole thing is sort of an homage to them. And the production design I wanted to mention too, it was really cool.
The
like
orchard, the farmhouse, everything.
You know,
was
the Vernon residence that the kids have the party at the end. You know, it's specifically designed to look old and unlived in.
And it's kind of, you're kind of led to believe like he did the production.
Right, he does. He makes you feel like he set the house up to look this way.
Everything was done.
It's all according to his plan.
Right. Everything that was done in his favor.
Absolutely. So outside of that, I just wanted to reiterate how strong the acting was in the movie. I mean, Leslie Vernon was awesome.
Yeah.
Tay, or the character, was the reporter was good.
Yeah, and the chemistry between both of them, you really.
And the camera crew.
Yeah, you really. Well, I don't know. I feel like you
I felt
saw
like
the
Leslie
connection.
got a little close to the camera crew at parts and stuff too. And
they were cheering him on.
Yeah, and then things get real and it gets interesting after that. Yeah. So that's gonna be about all we can reveal for our regular review of Behind the Mask. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe the video.
Follow us on Twitter at HorrorShow666.
Check out our podcast or email us. The links to both of those are down below. And remember, guys, stay scared.